about the Russian culture. His favorite movie is Schindler's List, and he would like to play any action role in a movie. So now it's time for action for your speech. Please.
Okay. Thank you so much. I am Daniel Villanueva, and I am here today because I want to talk about the cultural communication. That's a topic that is really interesting because I think nowadays, in this globalized world, we have to talk, we have to be in contact with different cultures. So how many of you have contact or work with another cultures? Well, most of you. That's right, and most part of the companies, they have to pay special attention to this because they can lead to bigger problems. So now they are also organizing trainings. They try to provide their employees with some resources that they can learn about different cultures. So this is really important. So regarding cultural communication, I specifically want to talk about the cross-cultural communication. And that means that we have two concepts that is needed to talk about beforehand. So first, we have the perception. The perception is different depending on the individual. So depending on each one, we will have a different perception of the reality. And this is something that might be influenced by another people. So that's something that we have to take into account since this is subjected to another factors. And another factor as well is the ethnocentricity. The ethnocentricity is a concept that means that we measure another cultures, taking into account our culture. So, for instance, me being Spanish and you being Russian, you can have some difference understanding the way that I behave or the way that the decisions that I take. And continuing, it's necessary to define what is culture. So when I was researching for giving this speech, there were different definitions for culture. So culture, essentially, there was actually one of the definitions that I liked the most. It was given by Pellegrino Riccardi, if I don't remember, if I'm not wrong. And this guy is specialized in cross-cultural communication, and he gives speeches about this and also some workshops just to train people, as I mentioned before. And he gave a definition that it was cross-cultural culture is a system where we identify a behavior as familiar or like the perceptions are similar to ours. So this is important to understand it because since we have a different way of communicating to each culture, we can understand differently if they talk in another way or if they express it in another way or another. So this is important for the social life, business life, or every kind of relation that we have. So this was especially important after the Second World War. So when they finished the World War, the second, Americans, diplomats, they knew the languages that they have to talk, but the problem that they have is that they didn't know about the culture, and that was a problem that they have. So there were many people researching about this topic, and especially there was one researcher that I really like. So he developed two different concepts, and these concepts were proxemics and high contest and low contest. So basically, proxemics means that you have to understand the distance during a communication. So, for instance, it's not the same as the distance that you keep when you are in a social contest or if you're in a business contest. So the distance will vary. And as well, it's different when you are talking with another culture or a different culture than yours. And for instance, in this case, we can take as an example Scandinavians. Scandinavians is crazy. I saw some pictures of them like really tidy, waiting for the bus, and the distance that they were keeping was really high. And in comparison, we have on the other hand the Middle East. In the Middle East, the distance that they keep one to another is really reduced, or even there is no distance. So that's something that we have to understand. So it's not that they are rude, it's that it's their culture. So we have to understand that. And on the other hand, we have the other concept that is high contest and low contest. So we have to understand that, for instance, depending on the situation, we have to understand in another way or another. So the low contest means that the message that is given is essentially what you have to understand. And for instance, we have in this case Germans and Scandinavians. So basically, the message that they give you is what you have to understand. There is no second ways of understanding. Is straightforward. We have on the other hand from the Middle East. So in this sense, who, where, or how is it said will change totally the way that they express things. So that's something as well that we have to take into account, since, for instance, that's something that it was interesting for me. When I was working in the UK, sometimes they were presenting a project and they were saying, "No, this actually is not bad." I said, "It's not bad. I mean, I was working hard for this project, and this means actually that it's good." But they are like saying it in their way, so you don't have to understand it in like wrongly. And you have to take into account like English speaker in native speakers. American and British are totally different in this sense. So American have a much lower context, so they are quite straightforward. So you have to keep the message and understand the message. And British, you have to understand that the way that they express is something that you have to understand. Like for instance, it's like when you have a statement, you have to give a statement to them because of something, and it's like, oh, sounds interesting, and it's not that it sounds interesting. Sorry, it's that actually they are doubting if you're saying something that is true or not. So you have to understand that as well. So to sum up, I just wanted to highlight that there are some things that we have to understand, that each culture expresses things in a different way. So we have to understand this, and in that way we are not going to lead to misunderstandings, whether in the business side or in the social life. That's something that we have to understand. Thank you.